I want to congratulate the FSDT team that are behind the FinScope study and the partners that they work with to generate this report and previous reports. It's a very rich report, very many insights, a lot of information that is very interesting, but also gives us a very good idea of where we are excelling, where the opportunities are, and where challenges still exist. It's actually a very deep report because you can see from a geographical point of view, from a gender point of view, from an age group point of view, whether it's demographics demographics or gender, but also from a usage behavior point of view. So it's really a very rich report. One of the things, or some of the things that we found, for example, in this study, we can see what has happened with regards to access to a financial service point. Now, in the previous report, that was one of the areas that was earmarked or highlighted as a gap that there was in many parts of the country. There was still a number of Tanzanians that didn't have a point of service or a point of presence that was within 5 kilometers reach. You can see that gap has closed tremendously. In fact, if you look at for example, in Zanzibar, almost 100% of the population has got a point of service or a financial point within 5 kilometers reach. So those are things that as an industry we've worked on because of the insights we got from the previous study to continuously develop reach and access, because we believe that that's one of the enablers for financial inclusion. The other aspect that was important from the report, but also from engagements with FSDT, is this whole notion of rural coverage. For many Tanzanians and for many young people today, their first time to have a formal financial product is going to be on a mobile device. And a mobile device will only be useful if they have coverage where they are. So we, as an industry, and I'm speaking of all MNOs, over the last 12, 24 months, we've been investing heavily in our rural connectivity initiatives. So, directly by ourselves, but also in partnership with government. You may be aware of the Universal Coverage Service Access Fund, where we contribute a percentage of our revenue to government, and then it is reinvested for rural coverage. So those are some of the things that we've been doing. We've also spent quite a lot of effort. This time around, the report does indicate that the merchants space have not grown as much as we would have wanted. So that becomes a key insight, but that's an area that we've spent quite a lot of time on in the last year or so, developing merchants. In other words, for people to be able to pay for services and not have to withdraw cash to go and pay for something. So restaurants, supermarkets, hospitals, and the likes. So that's an area that we will continue to develop. If you look at the report, one of the areas that was highlighted is the lending gap, right? So credit remains a big opportunity, but also a big problem for ordinary folks. So you will see from, let's say, ourselves as Vodacom, but also even the other operators, there's a lot of very innovative lending products that are now out there in the market. I mean, I think one of the prominent ones for us is Songesha, but although it's an overdraft facility kind of product, but the uptake for that has been incredible. The report still shows us that there's a big gap for that. The other one that is very, I think, instructive from the report is they speak about digital inclusion will be accelerated if there's a lot more smartphone penetration. And we know that one of the barriers to smartphone penetration is the cost or price. So what have we done? You will see that we have products like device financing that are now becoming prevalent in Tanzania. You can actually take a phone on credit and pay, kidogo kidogo until you pay it off fully over maybe 12-month installments or some 6-month installments. So those are some of the things that we've picked out of the report and what we're doing about them from a product set point of view. For me, the big thing is that, one, smartphone adoption is a big enabler. The world is going to increasingly be digital. Financial literacy will be important if we're going to deepen financial inclusion. So we have so many products as MNOs, and so do the banks and everybody. But do people know about them? Do they know how to responsibly use them? So financial literacy will be important. The third thing will be affordability. So obviously when you're starting, your startup costs are high, but as you get higher and higher adoption, you need to continuously optimize your pricing so that more and more people can afford. We're now getting to further and further down to people with lower income, and we need to make it easy for them to use our products by making them more and more affordable. The third thing is, or the fourth thing would be in terms of accessibility. Yes, the report did highlight that there was a lot of improvement in terms of point of access, that many more Tanzanians have a financial point of access close to them, but we can still do a lot more in that regard. And then lastly, I think what's very important, we've got to continue innovating and solving financial problems of day-to-day people. We're in a planning season here, for example, at Vodacom, and in one of the sessions a couple of days ago, the first thing that went up from the M-Pesa team when they were presenting was extracts from the FinScope study, and they were trying to basically validate one of the things they want to do going forward, and they were making reference to the study. So definitely the insights for us, they're spot on. We've also had other sources of information in the past that point to these things. So seeing this information in the manner in which it's been presented, like I said at the beginning, the fact that I can actually say, if I'm in the Lake region, what's the take-up, what's the adoption, what's the gap, what's the opportunity, is it male, is it female, what's the biggest product and what's the biggest barrier. So yes, very, very instructive report that can be used in various ways by all players in the financial services space. There is a massive opportunity for various players in the sector to really take services to Tanzanians, to the ordinary person. Some of these opportunities, and most of these opportunities actually, require for us to collaborate and each of us play a part that we are best suited to play, right? So collaboration is going to be very, very key. For example, between MNOs and banks, between MNOs and banks and insurance companies, between MNOs, banks, insurance companies and hospitals, banks and schools, the Vicobas and so on. So everybody we have to be able to collaborate, because I think the opportunity is too big to be solved by just one entity. For me, that's really my big message: collaboration, working together to solve these big opportunities that exist in Tanzania to deepen financial inclusion.